Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back to On the Road Outside of the Bunker, which means we have another travel topic just to prove we go places on occasion. We're in the midst of credit cards mid-cycle refreshes where these annual fees continue to increase to astronomical amounts. But don't worry, I'm not going to complain about it even as a cashback player. But I do think the credit card issuers have finally found a way to potentially defeat the effective annual fee argument. So that's what we're going to talk about it today. Does it still work? What should you do, and how are we looking at these fees as they probably continue to increase as we go? So of course, go ahead, press the subscribe button, if nothing else, for me leaving the house and talking to you. See, you can tell. That's why we do it on the backdrop. Anyways, let's get to work here. So, to set the stage for this one, in case you're newer to the game, some credit cards have annual fees, a fee that you pay yearly, and for that they give you certain perks, benefits, or coupons. Now, I find myself right now to have no annual fees, and usually play cashback, which you really don't see fees too much on the cashback side. Maybe it's something like the Shoppers Rewards, Cash Rewards from US Bank, or the Blue Cash, whatever, preferred from American Express, but it's rare. And so, it's not new, but 2016, when the Sapphire Reserve came onto the scene, it probably restarted, gave the game life again. Before that, people were still talking about this stuff on Flyer Talk and places like that on the internet, but it had a $450 annual fee, and it felt reasonable because for that you got $300 travel credit that you could use on anything. You got primary CDW. You still get these things. You got a few multipliers, which were new for the Chase at the time that their core cards didn't have. And the travel portal, being the 1.5x redemptions, was actually a novel idea back then. And of course, that was good. People liked it, and of course, it had a 100,000 point offer. Then over time, fees increased. The Sapphire Reserve sits at $550. There's rumor of it going up to, was it $800? I want to say just a rumor, but it's, going up, and the rumors is they would be reducing multipliers and giving more credits or more coupons. Some even locked behind what I would call a spend wall. You had to hit, I think, 75,000 in spend to get the Southwest and IHG status. Again, if it comes true. But of course, we've seen the Platinum card do the same thing. Gold just increased. Platinum, we believe, will increase again. They didn't change the fee or lower it. They still capped how many times you can go to Delta Sky Clubs. They've removed guest access unless you spend like 75 grand on the card. Brilliant. Aspire, Southwest, again, we haven't talked about Southwest in this much in forever. If you watch the Sunday show, now we're talking about it all the time. They're basically following what the major airlines did, Delta, United, and American, revamping their program to either make you spend more or push you to a credit card and still probably spend more. So that's that. I think we're still going to go through that. We're about like mid-cycle refresh of the credit cards, I want to say. And so the effective annual fee argument goes a little bit like this, in case, again, you're unfamiliar. If the card gives you a $400 annual fee, but you can use $300 in credits, well, then the effective annual fee is $100. And then, you're just paying $100 for whatever those underlying perks are. Easy enough. The math works. Pretty simple. And that was true in the days of the Sapphire Reserve. It's still true for the last holdover, which I believe is the Venture X, which will probably change at some point, because if everyone else is charging more, why wouldn't you charge more? Hence Southwest. So it really makes it harder going forward as they keep loading these cards with more credits and coupons to actually make the effective annual fee argument legitimately work. Easy answer was when I did have the Business Platinum. Some credits work. The cell phone credit, I'm talking to a cell phone now, so yes, you can get face value for the $10. Easy enough. But, some of them go down from there. If you're, the classic DoorDash credit, right, or Uber Eats. If you were never ever going to download the app, even though you used it, you got $15 worth of food, give or take. If you were never going to do that, you may have gotten $15, but you get $15 of value, because there's a difference. You're just kind of doing something to do it because you have it, but I don't know that it really genuinely lowers the effective annual fee if you were never going to spend that money anyways, never going to use that service anyways. I don't know. I think that's what's getting harder. But the interesting part is we only really think about it from a credit card standpoint, but we don't apply this really to anything else, maybe because this is just a numbers-based game. So I really think the answer is kind of going to have to decide who you are and what you want to do, because you're not really going to win the effective annual fee argument. Some people, a very finite amount of people will. You can tell that the cards are aimed at people, usually on the coasts, right, where these services are the biggest. Living in the Motor City capital, I can tell you people take Ubers, but not that much. My neighbors all have 3-car garages and more cars that can fit in them. That's just what we do. We don't do that, but the coasts, things like that. Yeah, sure. So it's interesting because we don't look at it like, if you take this phone, iPhone, everyone has iPhone or a phone, right? I buy the Pro Max every year, and you're like, okay, why? Well, because I like big phone. Okay, well, big phone, cool. Why not get the Plus? Well, I mean, they've been the same size, forever. The Pro Max is now a little bit bigger, like 0.2 bigger, but, your mom says it's fine. So I don't know if that's mean to me or your mom, but it fit, so whatever. But anyways, if you wanted just a big phone and not to spend a bunch of money, get the Plus. But no one buys the Plus. That's why they're going to rumored to discontinue it. Well, do you use the third camera, which is a telephoto? Not really. You could just zoom with your feet, walk closer to it. If you don't use that, well, then the other cameras are the same on the Plus. What about storage size? No, I get the base one at 128 gigs, and I don't use half of it. I wouldn't think to take a bunch of telephoto pictures out this window, so I got value from the camera, and I wouldn't think to just load a bunch of random files on the phone to say I used all the storage size. I just buy the big phone because it's the big one and it has the nicest screen. If that's the two things I really care about, and I like it. That's pretty much it. Not really good reason, but it's my reason. I think it's the reason we mostly do, because again, you can see the Plus isn't selling the best. That's why they're going to kill it. So people either buy the low end one or they buy one of the two high ends, the Pro or the Pro Max. And I believe that's the approach, unfortunately, folks are going to have to take with these credit cards, which I think is fine, actually, because again, we don't do it in anything else. Now, it's not like a pass to just go spend a ton of money and give the banks all your money, but travel is valuable to go around and see things, but on some level, travel is also very frivolous and not really the best use of money either. So what if you just thought about picking your few annual fee credit cards that you want, that you think make your life better, and include that in your yearly travel budget, if you will. Find better ways to pull back here to give that money to Amex or Chase or whoever it may be. Examples, if you will, because I don't want to just make fun of you travelers. I will do the Comfort Plus seats on Delta for only one reason: the overhead storage, because I refuse to check a bag, and I have an ongoing feud with a friend about checking bags, and I won't check a bag, won't do it. So I pay more, but you get more snacks, which who really cares? I bring a bunch of Quest bars. They're still not sponsoring me, by the way, which sucks if you watch the last travel video, but I don't blame them, I guess. And you get alcohol up there, but I don't really drink, so I don't use it except for the one thing, and I just pay for it, and it's fine. So you pull back in other places, as budgeting normally works. And so at my home airport of Detroit Metro, if you park at the Delta terminal, it's like $11 more a day versus parking at the other terminal and taking the free shuttle over. It's not free, it's probably included in your parking, but you get the point. That adds up. So I will just shuttle over, save some money there. You guys have probably seen this before, but I don't bring a ton of stuff, so I can bring my own protein powders and my own shaker bottle, my own Quest bars, and instead of buying some at the CVS when you get here, the pre-made stuff. It all kind of adds up. I haven't done the math to see if it completely offsets it, but it's more so picking and choosing, right? And I really think that's what we're going to have to get to in these credit card annual fees. I'm tired of seeing people just tell me the effective annual fee is this because you use the credit. It's not exactly a one-to-one. Math-wise, yes, but value-wise, no, and there's a difference. And travel is, as we said, kind of frivolous anyways. It's good, it's important frivolous spend, I guess you could say. I don't really know how to qualify it, but it's kind of my takeaway. I get annoyed. Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't use these calculators. Like, the OG of the game, Ask Sebi, has done the game a great service by making these calculators and putting them out there for free. You should definitely do the calculators and get a gauge of where you're at, but I don't think it's the other realm of craziness to just kind of say, hey, look, either I'm not going to have these cards at all, which is fine, or just pick your one or two that you want. Your airline card that can, maybe if you have to use it, will save you baggage fees, that's fine. And then your hotel card of choice. I don't know if I do all of them, the Brilliant, the Aspire, and Hyatt one. Some people do, and sure, you can get into the award night and things like that, but maybe just pick your one if you think it makes your travels better. So what do I do? Well, I don't have any of them, but I've thought about it. Again, we kind of covered, I don't really stay at a lot of places that would make a ton of sense to have. I'm in the business of taking money from banks, not giving them money, but I do think about it from time to time. It would, the Brilliant card would be cool to have for sure. The other part about this is, much back to the iPhone one, if the card issuers, this is why I think this will be here to stay. If they could be easily defeated by just math, well, they would have lost already, because if you go back to the iPhone, well, the difference in the phones, again, one is made out of titanium, which weirdly enough, they're rumored to go back to aluminum, but it's supposed to be a nicer material, nicer display, different colors. So they're clearly trying to set them apart, make one look premium. It's the same thing, especially put in a case. You know that, and I know that, but they're still trying to, right? And the card issuers are the same way. That's why these cards are metal and they're nice. The Platinum card's a very nice looking card. The Delta Reserve, that limited edition one, very nice looking card. All the $500 cards, as you expect, are metal, and it matters. It does matter. It's like when we tell people it doesn't matter what you wear. Like, no, it does matter. It does. And they're trying to do that. And like the same when you check in, they're like, well, thank you for your loyalty. Here's a pseudo upgrade, or here's some water. They're all trying to sell you the experience, sell you the dream, and that's why it does make it harder. And I think is why people try to force themselves into the effective annual fee works. I don't really think it does, but I also don't think it has to work anymore because they're not going to stop. And I do think they finally found a way to defeat it. Again, now with the airline cards and the check bags, you kind of have to use the card and to get the credit for it. So originally you just leave them in your desk drawer. And I think they're going to start to change the hotel credits. I wouldn't be surprised, looking forward, if eventually you had to do something with these cards to trigger the award night. And you couldn't just have it and use the award night, or the annual fee would outpace the award night. I'm pretty sure they're going to do something like that in the next iteration, because you can clearly see they don't want people just sitting on these cards. But again, I'm not picking on the specific benefits. If you like them, then I think that's just kind of where you're at. Just pull from your travel budget, use them. Don't go crazy with them, but we really got to start talking better about the effective annual fee argument, because I believe it becomes misleading to a lot of folks, especially newer ones. And there's a difference between I got $15 of a coupon versus I got actual value from the thing. We're trying to get value. Those things on the card make your life better, may give you more fun, much like me looking at a big phone just because I like the big phone with 120 hertz refresh rate. Then so be it. I think it's fine. You go to work, presumably you work hard, just budget it in accordingly, use what you can, and don't go crazy over it and make it misleading, and just have fun out there. That's kind of my take as a travel, as a cashback person. If I were to get the cards, that's probably what I would end up doing, or just go for find the sweet spot. The good news is they all offer tiers, from the entry level all the way up to the 550. But even then, they've declared war on all of them. So it's kind of hard to pick a spot and win, I would say. The glory days, the golden days of the game, this level of the game, sadly have come and gone, I think. And this is kind of where we're at. So, just enjoy. So there's my contrarian take on annual fees, I guess you could say. Probably not where you thought I was going to go with it, but hey, someone has to be the voice of reason. Someone's being cashed back. I can sit outside and have a different perspective. Or you could tell me I'm totally wrong. I turn it over to you because I have to go home now because I've been outside far too long. In the sunshine, in the air, and it's just terrible. We go seal the vault, get back to work. So anyways, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. Found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel, so we're posting content just like this every single day. And of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And of course, every single day over on profitfulcontent.com. That's our blog. It's linked down below for it. It gives you something to read on the plane if you want. No credits or coupons required. It's free. We have news stories. We have bank promotions that can help offset some of those annual fees. And we have credit card offers. If you want to see what all the fuss is about, we've got those too. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Safe travels out there, and I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.